Right. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to do a just quick general walkthrough, making the data table and graph, excuse me, for the Hare Lynx lab. Okay. Um, on this, uh, so this Sheets document is already on the assignment I gave you, the blank Sheets document. So all you have to do is like open it up, and it'll open up, and you can just make it right in there. So the first thing you're going to do is you need to um, recreate the whole data table. Okay, now when I say the whole data table, I mean all of it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is across the top, type in the categories. So generation, um, number, and you can do the number number of hairs, number of links, um, and you're going to want to type in all the categories. Okay, now I've already got them on a different one, so I'm going to just copy and paste here real quick. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't want to do that. Okay. I didn't want the formatting to jump in because I wanted to actually show you guys the formatting. So I guess I'm going to have to retype some of this. So hares eaten. Hares remaining. Thanks. Starved. Thanks. Driving and links offspring. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is if you look, now it's really only the one I think, but the words don't fit in the column for the heading for some of this. Now there's a couple of ways you can fix this. Um, for what we have in this data table, the easiest way is probably going to be to hover over the line between like two of the like the one that's too long, that's too short for the word. Hover this so you get the double arrow like this. Click and hold and then drag it longer. It's probably the easiest way. Now, I do want to show you something else though, that can be handy um, if you have a like say you have like a really long heading or something, and you don't want the column like super wide. Uh, so another way you can do it is if you click on the column and you go up to format. So you click on the whole column, you go to format, and you go to down here. You want text wrapping, and you want to wrap it. And what that'll do is it'll automatically make that cell bigger, and it'll when I say bigger, I mean vertically larger, and it'll wrap onto a new line. It'll wrap any text that goes beyond. So for example, if I were to shrink down these, oh, hold on, sorry. You can highlight more than one too. I don't want to do that. If I highlight and I format and I go to text wrapping and I wrap. Okay, if I shrink down, excuse me, if I shrink these down, you can see it will text wrap like that, any of them that happens to. Okay, so make sure that your column titles all fit. Okay, then you're going to put in the data. Now, the data for the generation. Okay, so Excel and Google Sheets can recognize certain patterns. So if there's a pattern to something, some kind of a repeating or an increasing pattern, a lot of times they can recognize it. And there's actually a faster way to do it. So like for the generations, they go up by one all the way up to 22 or whatever we did, right? So you go under generations, type one, and then do two. Do the first two. Excuse me. Okay. Do the first two, and then highlight those. Now, with the highlighting, here's another little tip. Um, you can you can click and hold and drag with like your finger on the trackpad or whatever. Now, there's another way, and this can be helpful, like especially when you have like a smaller laptop like you guys have, and sometimes everything's not on the screen. What you can do is you can click on the cell that you want to highlight, where you want to start your highlighting. If you hold down the shift, if you hold down the shift button on your keyboard, and then use the arrow keys, you can actually highlight with that as well, and that can be helpful sometimes. Um, when it's hard to sort of highlight something on, especially on those laptops. Okay, so you want the one and the two that you put in, you highlighted together. Okay, then you hover over the lower right corner where there's a little box until you get this plus thing. I think on your guys' laptops it looks almost like a little target, like a circle with a plus or something. You hover over the lower right corner until you get that. Then you click and drag down. Okay, now I don't think you can use the shift on that. I don't really know. I've never tried it. But you drag down to where you want. Okay, and see how it automatically filled it in? Now, I didn't get far enough to get 20, so if you don't go far enough, you can just do the same thing. Click, drag till you get to where you want to be. Just like that. Okay, that helps you, that'll fill, without you having to type, it'll fill all in like kind of patterns and stuff. So you can do that with repeating numerical patterns or increasing numerical patterns. You can do it with certain other patterns that are recognized. So like, for example, if you have the months of the year, and you're in like January, February, like that. If you have January, February, you can highlight those and then drag down and it'll fill in all the other months automatically. It'll do it with like dates, stuff like that. Okay. All right. Now, at this point, you need to go fill in the rest of your data. Okay. Um, if if I were you, I would just pause the video here, fill in the rest of your data. When you get all the rest of your data filled in, come back, um, come back to the video and unpause it. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste some data in here and then go from there. Okay, so if you are if you got all your data in, you came back and you got all your data in. Okay, I'm not gonna fill in random data for these last ones because I don't need it to show you what I'm doing, but you should have data in all of these areas. Okay, now making the data table look nice, there's a few things you can do. So what I would do is I'd highlight all the stuff in the table, the headings and all of your data, your numbers. Okay, so highlight all of it like this. One thing you can do, or one thing that you should do, is make it actually into a table. We can see like these little gray lines in here, but if you were to print it off, they wouldn't show up. So we want to make it into an actual table. So up here on your toolbar, there's a little box that looks like four squares together. That's your border. Click on that, and then you're going to just choose the all borders. Okay, and you can see how it highlights around, or it borders around everything to make it look like a table. Okay. Now you can leave everything highlighted, or if you didn't, you can re-highlight it. Another thing to make it look a little better that you can do is you can like make the data show up in the center. Now my two here are centered because I copied them from the other one, but all of yours are probably all over to the right, pushed over to the right. So if you go up here again to your bar, if you have them highlighted, the thing that looks like a little paragraph, if you don't have one of these buttons, by the way, at the end of your toolbar over here, there should be like somewhere at the end of your toolbar, there should be like three dots or whatever. Click that and the rest of the options will pop up. Okay. So click the little thing like that. That's the horizontal align. So horizontal means left to right. So we want this stuff centered. Okay. Now, if you want your vertical column, like within the cell, like up and down within the cell, if you want that a certain way too, you can do that. You can, that's the arrow down with the line. You can vertically align it with the cell, either put it at the top of the cell. You can see my stuff moved up, middle or at the bottom of the cell. You can do it, whatever you like and whatever looks good. Okay, so after you get that, you should have your table. Stuff should be centered. It should look nice, like a data table, easy to read. Okay. All right. Now, at this point, we are going to create a graph. For our graph, we're just gonna graph the population of hares versus the population of the lynx over the generations. So you're gonna highlight the first three columns, including the generations, including the headers and all the numbers like this. Then you go up to Insert Chart. It's going to take a second, but a chart should pop up. It should look something like this. Like it'll be based on your data, but it should, look something like this with the, title and the two lines, like that kind of stuff. Okay, if for some reason it doesn't, make sure you have the correct stuff highlighted. You can always, if the graph is messed up and it's not working, you can always click on it, like click on the actual graph. And you hit delete or backspace. It'll get rid of it. You can try rehighlighting, and then just insert it, again. Okay. Now, there's a few things. So the nice thing is by choosing the headings, we've already got some of this stuff labeled. Like our two lines are labeled with the number of hares and number of links. So we know what those are. We don't like this as a title though. So if there's already it should already have like a title on it. So you can just double click in there and it should choose it, and you can actually just change it right in the title. So we want the title of our chart, of our graph, to be representative of generically what the graph is showing. So I would title it something like Predator versus Prey populations, something like that. Seeing the population predator versus prey, over generation type stuff. Okay, so I would change it to something like that. Another thing is, so we've got generation for our label for our horizontal, so that's good. We need a y-axis label. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go over to your chart editor. Now, if you don't have your chart editor up, like if that's not there, then what you do is you click on your graph, and then you can either right click, and you can go here, or you can click on the three dots and say Edit Chart, and that thing on that chart editor will pop up. Okay, we're gonna go make sure you're on the two tabs up here, Setup and Customize. Make sure you click Customize, and then we're gonna go down and choose the menu that's Chart and Axis Title. So we're gonna expand that. Okay, then here in this box right here with the green, it says Chart Title. You can see that's our predator versus prey, right? That we changed before. We're going to change that. We're going to select vertical axis title is what we want to change. Okay, vertical axis title. So we want our vertical axis title. So these are the number of animals, right? And you don't want to say like number of hares or number of lynx or something because it's got both on here. So we're just going to say something like let's say let's say number of organisms, maybe something like that. Okay, would be a good uh, axis title label. Okay, so you have that, and when you type it in, it should automatically pop up for you. So this is what our graph looks like. It looks really good, now at this point. We can see the over the generations what's happening to each population. You can kind of see compare like one to the other, like what's happening when, that kind of stuff, right? One other thing that this wouldn't be mandatory, but it might help a little bit. And I was telling other people to do is, so if you see like on our generations down here, it's just kind of got every 5 labeled. It might be nice since we had the individual generations to see like where it strikes on each one. So we can actually get that under customize again, under the menus, scroll all the way to the bottom and where it's grid lines and ticks, click on that. Okay, we want to deal with the horizontal axis, so change this to horizontal axis. Okay, major spacing type, we still want it to be step spacing, but we want the major step, we want the value, we want it to show every one. Okay, see when we do that, look what happens. Now it shows every generation. You can kind of see where each of them hit. And they're marked. So once you get that done, I would say you're pretty much done with the graph and the data table and the chart. You can just it saves automatically. Make sure that you do the problems in the Google Doc, and when you get all that done, you can just save it and turn it in. All right. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Other than that, good luck.